What's going on, guys? So today again it's going to be a mix of crypto and the broad markets. There's a reason why I'm doing it. It's because if you pay attention in the next coming months, guys, we're going to make a lot of effing money, okay? And at the end of the day, we cannot just look at Bitcoin or crypto. We also need to look at the broad markets. That's one of the reasons why I've been able to not get wrecked in this market dip we just had in the crypto space, because I saw the early warning signs that I talked about literally before we started having the sell-off in the markets, right? So right now I'm very well positioned. Hopefully you are also very well positioned if you listened. In this video, okay, I'm gonna talk to you about the signals I'm waiting for to get back into crypto heavily, and also the best timing also, which in my humble opinion is not right now, even though obviously we had a beautiful reversal. I'm very happy to see that, so at least there's strength on the buy side, but I also do not believe it's a good time to chase right now, and I'm gonna explain all of that. It's very simple also, so you can follow easily. You just need to pay attention and have a systematic approach using probabilities and a set of rules, and that's exactly what I'm going to show you guys in this video. So obviously, if you guys recall here, I said that it was not a good time to be buying based on risk reward, and obviously we had the flush. There was also the government selling $2 billion of Bitcoin, right? So everyone was in la land pretending like it wasn't going to affect the price of Bitcoin. Obviously it did. Bitcoin took a tumble. Right now it bounced. So now we're at the second standard deviation. Well, a little bit above actually. We're at the 1.5 standard deviation of the range. Obviously we could go back to the means, which is always the target right here, which is the green line. Eventually we'll go back here, and we're also below a very key moving average, which is the pi moving average right here. I also talked about that. If that was to happen, we would have a flush in the market, and that's exactly what happened, because a lot of market participants are looking at the pi cycle, and this is the first time that after the halving, Bitcoin has been rejected by the pi cycle, so that's not something that we usually see historically speaking, to get that final parabolic rally. And warned that if that was going to happen, we would have a market tumble, and that's literally what happened, right? Mixed with a lot of selling and leverage. There is some good news. If we look at the liquidity heat map, right, to see where market makers are gonna make the most money, as you guys can see, we had this level right here at 50K for months. And where did we go, right? Where did we flush? Right there, right? So that's where there was the most money for them to take, and that's exactly what happened. But now the good news is that most of the liquidity is to the upside, guys, at 70K for Bitcoin. So I am expecting Bitcoin to go back to the 70K level. So I am still bullish on Bitcoin, but I'm going to talk to you about when is going to be the best time to get back in, and I do not believe that it's going to be this month. So now I'm going to explain to you guys why I don't think it's a good time right now to think that you're buying the dip, even though we had a nice bounce, and I'm very happy to see this. I'm going to be still very cautious for the month of August, because as you guys can see looking at data, it's a flat month. So we go up and down. It's very zigzaggy. You're most likely going to lose your mind if you're trying to buy with big size. That's why I'm not buying right now yet. I will be buying, but not in August. So this month I'm just gonna chill and wait and enjoy my life, but I am working on my game plan. So the month of August for me will be more about just working on my execution of re-entering the market in September, guys. Okay, so in September, as you guys can see, that is usually one of the worst months for Bitcoin based on seasonality, and this is why I would caution to think you're buying the dip right now. Think we're most likely gonna have another pullback in September. I don't know how bad it's gonna be. I don't know. Maybe we won't break the last lows we just did, right? And we're just gonna chop around. We might, on the short term right now, have a reversal to the means back up, and then in September go back down again. We could basically just go up and zigzag around until September, go back down, right? And then in September, I believe it's going to be the best time to start buying back into Bitcoin and Solana, because then in October, aka October, it's extremely bullish, guys. Okay, so this is why, again, I do believe showing you guys the liquidity map. Most money is now in the 70K range for market makers to make the most profits, and October is very bullish. So I do think that Bitcoin is not done. We're gonna have a beautiful leg up as well back into the 70K, but I don't see it happening this month. I think this month we're most likely gonna chop around, and then September is gonna come. We'll see how low we go. Maybe we'll be flat. Regardless, September is gonna be the good month to start layering back in to crypto, in my humble opinion, for October. And then November, which, don't forget, it's an election year. So most election year, Q4 is extremely bullish. That's why don't wait too long on the sidelines. If you want to buy right now, buy. But you know, it's not going to be the time to panic afterwards if we go a little bit lower in September. So that's why personally I'm just going to wait and see. That's just going to be a better choice for me, especially that I will be playing with bigger size. I'm not going to be playing with small amounts. So I just want to make sure that I stack the odds in my favor. And now I just wanted to show you guys using the Cycolo multiple, right? So it's basically just the projection of the past Bitcoin halvings, right? So right now we are the red line right here. So if we actually look at the past 2 cycles, we're actually on track, guys, and the real parabolic rally actually should start later, kind of more here, guys. This is when we should go higher, and that was one of my mistake when I personally thought that we were going to start going parabolic before I was early on it, but I also gave the warning signal once my system started shifting, right? I had to start changing my stance on Bitcoin on the short to medium term. But right now, at least, I do think that we are entering kind of this last accumulation phase before we really start, you know, having those big rallies into 2025. And then eventually, if we do have a recession, then, you know, we're going to have some big drawdowns, obviously. But I do believe that Q4 is going to be very good for Bitcoin. You just want to be patient for September and wait to see what's going on with the market and also the broad market, which I'm going to talk to you about in the second part of this video. So stay tuned if you care about that. I also just wanted to talk about, you know, the global liquidity, right, which is the blue line. It did go up, and as you guys can see, Bitcoin tends to follow the global liquidity, right? Not perfectly, right? So right now, this is why I'm still not gonna start turning too bullish just because we had a spike here, right? It has happened in the past where we had spikes right here and Bitcoin went nowhere, right? So Bitcoin still stayed flat and just stayed in this range. I think that at least it's gonna help keep the price of Bitcoin at these levels. But the last thing that also is going to be super important to watch, guys, it's gonna be on the weekly, and it's gonna be the MACD, guys. On the weekly, I keep talking about it, right? It saved my ass. Hopefully it saved your ass too. And until this one cross, guys, we're not gonna start that up leg. At the end of the day, I'm a swing trader, right? So for me, trend is my friend, and my job is to make money when we have a nice trend up or down. Right now, obviously, we're in the downtrend, but you know, it's also not something you want to short because we're basically going down, but in a zigzag pattern, which is hard to make a lot of money off, except if you have systems like me. But even for me, I don't do that. I like to sleep at night, right? But yeah, so once this cross, guys, the MACD cross on the weekly, that's really gonna be the beginning of a beautiful leg up. So that's pretty much it, guys. If you don't want to continue the rest of the video, guys, you can go about your day and enjoy life. I'm just going to go a little bit more in detail in some very important stuff about the Bitcoin dominance and the money supply. All right, again, guys, so I'm going to show you this very boring chart again. It's just the Bitcoin dominance divided by the M2 supply in the US. And as you guys can see, we again bounce, guys, on this green line right here. So this is a really key support, guys. If we lose it, like, we could see some really big damage. It's going to be a buying opportunity, but it's going to be severe. So this is why, guys, I rather just stay on the sideline before adding back into my positions. Okay, and then the day we do finally break this level, guys, that's going to be the beginning of that parabolic rally that we keep talking about on this channel but never happens, right? So we've been rejected so many times here, guys. So this is definitely going to be the level we need to break. If we never break it, forget it. We're not getting that parabolic rally. And then, guys, I just wanted to look at the short term, show you guys that we still have a lot of momentum to go to the reversal of the means, right? Also looking at the breadth, I was waiting first to hit the green zone. That's exactly what happened, and then that was the actual bottom. So it's very important also to look at the breadth. of Bitcoin, the 50-day breadth is super important for mean reversion. The problem though is that the trend following is still on the downside with the weekly. And we have the seasonality also not very bullish for the month of August, and then not looking good for September, which will be the dip buying opportunity for October. So hopefully you guys are able to follow with me my logic here. So technically we could still go a little bit higher to these levels. Wouldn't be surprised. I won't be chasing this. I will be waiting personally for September. And then I'm going to be buying more Bitcoin, Solana, Coinbase, most likely buy back into Robinhood as well. I sold all of it. Yeah, and MicroStrategy. And I just wanted to show you guys why I will not be buying Ethereum. It is complete garbage. There's a reason why I sold most of my Ethereum, literally like after the ETF pump we had. Looking at the Ethereum dominance compared to Bitcoin, it's a straight downtrend. It's horrible. Even with this ETF, guys, I don't see it making a difference. The technology is horrible as well. On the fundamental side, it's horrible to use. I am personally never going to trade again on the Ethereum blockchain. I had enough. All the fees, it's not fun to interact with as well. This is why I'm so bullish on Solana. And if Solana doesn't work, guys, nothing else is going to work in the market. I think Ethereum is going to continue just long term being in a downtrend, right? This is why I sold, guys. Once we were here with the upper range of the downtrend, there was no reason for me to keep this crap. The actual Ethereum price, guys, like look at that. This is just disgusting. Thank God I sold in these levels. I mean, this is horrible. And the problem is, I would be a dip buyer if the technology was good. It's not. That's the problem. Based on probabilities, right? If I put the candlestick, there's a reason, we got bought back up and we have a beautiful hammer. We were at the third standard deviation, right? So that's normal based on probabilities, but long term, I'm not interested in Ethereum. I am way more interested in Solana. It's going to have way more upside. And right here, we can really see the difference in strength when we look at the Solana dominance compared to Ethereum, right? It's just kicking Ethereum's ass. At the end of the day, if you're a swing trader, you want to make a lot of money. Trend is your friend, but it's also important to understand relative strength, right? And Solana has the relative strength. And on the fundamental side, it's just a great blockchain to interact with. Not saying you cannot make money with short-term bounces. I'm just saying if you're trying to swing trade something into 2025 with the highest risk reward and the best relative strength, Solana is going to be your best friend, and Ethereum is going to be your worst enemy, in my humble opinion, based on dominance. All right, guys. So now, very quickly, we're going to talk about the probabilities for the S&P 500. Very important to look at. A lot of my internal signals got triggered, except for the breadths. There's still some downside, but we did have a lot of exhaustion, especially on the volatility side. The VIX and PE spread. The VIX itself, it was at 60 literally yesterday. I did buy a little bit yesterday of the S&P 500 and NASDAQ. Obviously, we were at a fourth sigma, which only happens during a black swan event, guys. The probabilities never miss except 1% of the time when we actually have these type of crazy events out of nowhere. Right now, I'm still being very conservative. I don't like the way it looks. To be honest with you, when I see this, we might stay in this range for a little while. We could also go back up, but it's not a reason for me to buy. And I'm going to show you guys after why. It's the same reasoning than for Bitcoin as well, guys. It's seasonality, momentum on bigger time frames is not looking good. But right now, based on probabilities, right, if we don't have like a major crash or just more selling from institution, we should go back to the first standard deviation, which we also have a gap here to fill, and it would also coincides with the moving average, the 20 moving average here of the daily time frame, right? And then we're gonna have to see, do we get rejected here, or if we break above, then we'll go back right here, which is the means of the probabilities. But then is that gonna make me bullish again? No. Now I'm going to show you guys what I'm waiting for to turn bullish again. So it's very self-explanatory, guys. Again, it's the MACD right here. Okay, we crossed here. This is why I was also prepared for this week to be red. Every time the MACD crosses, guys, it has never happened before where you only had one red week, right? So every line here is a week of the histogram. The only time where we only had like 2 red weeks after the MACD here cross was right here. Okay, but minimum we still had 2 red weeks. All right, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Also looking at just bigger picture, right? Super important to pay attention to these key standard deviation levels. So right now this we lost this level right here, guys. So that gray line right here, we lost it. So the next target, guys, is the means. So right now we're here. If we get rejected and we're not able to get back above, or we stay here for a little bit too long, we might, you know, stay here, but eventually it's gonna fade to the next level, which is it's sub 500 for the S&P 500. It's not a major crash, but if you don't have cash on the side, you know, you're just gonna get wrecked. I do think it's going to be a great buying opportunity if it does happen. And then, you know, obviously I do think that will end up being a beautiful buying opportunity. I don't know if it's going to happen in September, right? Based on seasonality, but I will be waiting for that just to see. And if it doesn't happen, then the MACD here is going to cross back to the bullish side, and then I'll add to my longs again. But until then, I'm going to be waiting for the momentum on the weekly time frame and seasonality. If you just watch 2 minutes of my video, guys, you're probably not even listening anymore, but my God, you're gonna not make money. Jesus Christ, this is not the time to do that. Now is the time to lock in, make a lot of money in the next coming months. It's gonna be a crazy buying opportunity, and then most likely we will have a recession. That's just the problem. Is, are we gonna have it in the Q4 of this year, or is it gonna be Q1, Q2 of next year? So those are the time horizon, not the time to fuck around. All right, see you guys in the next video. Peace out.